Everybody, and welcome back to the Professional Rec, our YouTube channel. It's been a minute, almost 10 days before I posted something on that channel, but today I'm back and I'm coming back in fulfillment of a promise I made earlier about the previous. I made a promise in the previous video where I said that I'll be making another video about cement. So this is just part one of a few more parts to come about cement. Because I'm doing that, I'm making this video into parts because I don't want to make a very long video that will be boring, maybe too long, so that it becomes too boring to some viewers. So I'm trying to break them into smaller parts so that you have an easier time or a better time. You enjoy yourself more while watching these videos, while watching me and the information that I have to present, right? So that I care about you. Remember that. I'm trying to make you happy. And in the process, I'm making myself happy. So let's talk about cement. Cement is one of the construction materials that you use in constructing your home. That's the permanent structures we're talking about. And a home, I want to believe that a home is an identity. It's an identity. You can identify a person. You can say a lot. You can tell a lot about an individual just by looking at how their home is presented. How your home looks like. It's actually a reflection of who you are, your values, your character, and everything about you. What you care about, what you don't care about. We just look at your home and we know that. So when you are trying to make that place that matters so much to you, that place that you intend to raise your family in, and all that, there are decisions that you will have to make. And one of those decisions is choosing the type of material to do your construction with. And one of those materials, that is cement. So that is where it becomes very important to understand the types of various cements that are there in the market before you make that choice. This information will apply to Kenyan consumers as well as global consumers, people outside Kenya, people. But actually, if you are within East Africa, you are within Africa, I think this information is very relevant to you. But it is still applicable and very appropriate to consumers in all parts of the world. So please don't go away. Stay with me as I talk more, as I tell you more about cement. So let's start by defining what cement is. So cement, just like I said, it's one of the materials that are used in construction of permanent structures. And it is usually gray in color, usually, but not always. Usually in gray in color because of the materials that are used to make it. So you find that the gray, this gray substance, it is mixed with other materials, with other aggregates, so that it serves as a binding agent. It binds all these other materials together to produce that hard stone-like dried concrete or a slab that you see. Once it dries, it sets and dries, cures properly, it is very hard. It becomes very tough to the touch. So that is cement. Basically, it's just a binding agent. Keeps all those construction materials, those sand, the water, the gravel, the ballast, you know, all those deformed bars, everything that you're using in your construction, it binds everything together and holds them family to give you a very strong home. That's why you don't want to choose the wrong kind of cement for your project. That is why this video is very relevant, very important to everybody. As long as you intend to, whether you're a developer, you are the contractor that does the construction, you are the mason, or you are the homeowner. This information is too relevant that you cannot pass up. And so what? Let's talk about cement in terms of its SI units. SI units, I mean the units that are used to measure the strength of cement. Yes, cement also has to be measured in terms of strength. So the SI units for cement is megapascals. Mega, yes, MEGA, pascals. Pascals, PASCAL. If you did physics in high school, or at least Form 2, before you made those subject choices. Pascals was just the unit that is used to measure pressure, right? I think force, pressure, something like that. So megapascals, that is the unit, the SI units for measuring the strength of cement. That is global. It's not just Kenya, not African. That is global. It is a unit, an SI. SI units means standard, right? Standard, international standard. SI, international standards of units, right? So it is SI meaning standard. That means it's global. It applies to everybody, every country, everybody. wherever you are. So it is the SI unit that is megapascal. It's mega because cement has to be very strong. So this megapascals measures the amount of pressure, amount of compressive strength that you have to apply to the cement, to a given unit, a unit area of concrete or a cement structure before that cement or that structure gives way, right? So how much force are you applying? So that much force, that is what we refer to as the compressive strength, and it is measured in megapascals. Are we together? And then we're talking about when you're talking about megapascals, it usually ranges between 22.5. In Kenya, mostly it was just between, it started from 32.5 to 42.5, then to 52.5. Cement was mostly, but that was mostly the strength of cement. 32.5, 42.5, 52, 52.5. But then companies have become more creative. They are now introducing 22.5. That's a weaker kind of cement, but still good, not bad. It's good for certain applications. So you need to understand. That's why I'm talking. That is why this video is very important, because you need to understand the best kind of cement for you before you make that choice. Lest you use cement that is supposed to be you on a project that requires cement to have a strength of 42.5 megapascals, MPa. That's short form for megapascals. You're using a project. You're working on a project that requires the strength of that the minimum strength for that cement to be 42.5, and then you're using cement that has a strength of 22.5. You see the problem, right? If it is a storied house, you're going to have problems. You're going to kill people, tenants, your family, and all that. You're using 22.5 to construct. Now let me come lower. You're trying to construct a toilet, right? A latrine, a pit latrine toilet, and you're using cement for the slab. I mean, for the floor. You're trying to use cement that has strength of 32.5. That is wrong. You need to use at least 32.5 and above for safety. 22.5, that is not suitable for constructing slabs. Hiyo Bamuri, ushasikia simiti inaitwa Bamburi fundi, ushasikia simiti inaitwa Raiboma. That is, look, angalia hiyo gunia imeandikwa 22.5. 22.5, that's way too weak for slabs, for beams, for columns. So 32.5, that I'll be going into more details in later parts, if not in the video, in later parts of the same video about cement. So please don't go away. Stay tuned. You could actually learn something. And then, so we're talking about the most common materials that are used in constructing what? In making cement, not constructing, in manufacturing cement. So what are some of the most commonly used materials in the in the manufacturing process of cement? First of all, we have limestone. Limestone is a type of stone that is ground and then mixed with other ingredients to make what? To make cement. What are some of the other additional materials, additional raw materials that we have? Chalk. We can talk of things like iron ore. We can talk of things like gypsum. We have things like, what else? We have shell, SHELL, and then we have shell of SHAL, then E. And then we have slag, and then we have silica sand, and then we have clay. A very special type of clay that is used to make cement. So all these materials, they're usually mined. And when they are mined, they're transported using trucks to the factory. And then they are mixed. They are mixed and then they are ground into a very soft, into a very fine dust. And then depending on the type of cement that the company intends to make, they will mix different ingredients in different ingredients. Not all these raw materials are used in all types of cement. I mentioned that in the previous video. So I'm saying that the type of cement that the company intends to produce will depend on the raw materials that they use, or the raw materials that they use will depend on the type of cement they're trying to produce. Are we together? So there are cements that contain certain raw materials and others that do not. So the type of raw material will actually depend on the type of raw material. The type of cement will depend on the type of raw material that are used. So the strength, things are like strength, durability, compressive strength, that is compressive strength, yes, durability, workability, versatility, and all those characteristics of cement or properties of cement are determined by the type of raw materials that are used to make it. So actually, if you want to find more information of the in terms of properties of the specific type of cement that you're buying from a specific company or manufacturer, you can request for their data sheet. They are usually data sheet. That's the data sheet contains uh, all the information that there is to know about a product in terms of how much time it takes to set, how much time it takes to cure, the initial setting time, the final setting time, the strength, the raw materials, and all that. The storage data sheet will contain all that information. So the raw materials, I think now you understand what type of raw materials cement usually contains. Before we proceed, let's talk about the global producers, the major producers worldwide. Number one, you have China, that's Asia, right? We have India, that's still Asia. We're talking about the United States, and then we have other major producers like Brazil, that's in South Africa, South America, sorry. And then we have other major producers and consumers of things, countries like the United Kingdom, that is Europe, and some other European countries, major producers, major consumers. We have Nigeria, we have other like Egypt, other some African countries that are also actually major producers, consumers, and actually exporters. So we have China, probably because of the population, right? Almost 4 billion. That followed by India. We have that much, that a huge population. Of course, you need housing, right? You need offices. You need where all these billions of people to stay. So that's actually a major contributor or a major factor why these Asian countries are major producers. We have countries like Thailand. We have, yes, those Thailand and those some of those Asian tigers, those those Asian countries that are termed as Asian tigers, they are actually also major producers, major exporters, and major consumers of cement. And then the of course, United States, just because of its financial power, economical power, right? So it's a major consumer as well. And actually, there was a year. There's an interesting fact here about Chinese production of cement. China, there was a year. There's a period. There's a time. I don't remember the fact very, but if you can remember that, please don't hesitate to tell me about the same in the comment section. That there was a year, there was a period of time. I don't remember whether it was 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, but it was a very short period of time. I think it was a year where China produced more cement than how much cement the United States produced and consumed within a century. A century, that's a year. So that's 100 years. Sorry, I'm sorry. That's 100 years. So China produced and consumed so much cement in a year. I don't know if I don't remember, but if just Google that, you'll find it out. And I'll make maybe a reel, or I'll make a short, a YouTube short where I'll specify that after I find out. I've just forgotten. So there was a period or like 3 years. Just let's give it 3 years. Still fair enough. Or even 5 years. A period of 5 years where China produced so much cement than how much cement the United States produced and consumed in in an entire century. That's my mind-boggling, right? That's amazing. That is something that if you stop for a moment and imagine how economically massive the United States is, and if China can produce and consume cement in 5 years to surpass how much cement the United States produced in an entire year, in an entire century, that's food for thought, right? Think about that. Also, please don't go away. Stay tuned. Stay right here for the next video about continuation of cement. I'll be talking more about in that part two of cement. I'll be talking about the key factors that you need to consider and how you should store cement, how you should use it, and all that. I'll be making another brief video. I don't want to make these videos too long so that you get bored while watching them. My channel is still young, so I need you to watch to the end. So I need to keep you interested. So please stay tuned. I'll be dropping another part two of this, and maybe another third and fourth parts of the same topic, that is cement, until I get this topic exhausted. It is a very long, it's a very broad topic, needs a lot of information, and I can't skip because I need to keep you informed as much as I can. So please, thank you for watching. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do the same. And if something I mentioned that you didn't like, something that I mentioned that you liked, or there's information that you'd like me to talk more about, please tell me about the same in the comment section, and I'll be happy to come back here and address your needs. Otherwise, stay safe, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Thank you.